Hey, Buffy and Angel fans. I'm back to talk about Angel Season 1, episodes 18 and 19, 5 by 5, and Sanctuary. But before I get to this crossover event, I want to go over some housekeeping. First things first, thank you so much for your patience with me these last few weeks. I was very ill with an upper respiratory infection of some sort. It gave me acute laryngitis. I quite literally physically could not speak for long stretches of time. I fully lost my voice. I had a terrible cough. It was awful. I'm still kind of recovering. You can probably hear it in my voice. Like it shredded my vocal cords, but I'm good now. I'm not sick anymore. I'm just like, what the hell was that? Basically, couldn't record anything. The upside and downside of that was the upside. I got ahead like 10 episodes in both shows. I'm like firmly in season 5 of Buffy and season 2 of Angel. The downside to that is I've officially had to stop watching Buffy and Angel because I'm now so far ahead that going back to record these videos is proving to be challenging. So I'm waiting until I get a little bit more caught up before I resume my watch. Okay, Angel, episode 18, 5 by 5, the beginning of the Faith arc. I thought this whole arc was really interesting. I had no clue that she was going to be on Angel. It makes a lot of sense in hindsight. I just assumed they were going to bring Faith back on Buffy at some point, and maybe they still will. Based off of her storyline on Buffy earlier that season, they left the door open a little bit, but I was like, they're not going to touch on it for a while. I was incorrect. They touched on it pretty much immediately on Angel, and I really like where it ended up. She was up to her old tricks for a majority of it, but this time they actually gave her like a full arc and a resolution, which I really appreciate. For this episode specifically, I like the parallels between Angel's sort of like flashbacks and him having a soul and feeling remorse and the struggles that Faith is going through and how he was able to relate to her to sort of get through to her and to be a safe space for her, which I thought was really important for the next chapter of her life, which I'm going to touch on a little bit. But I liked sort of the structure of how this worked for this episode. It makes a lot of sense to me that Wolfram and Hart would hire Faith to try to eliminate Angel because they need a vampire slayer to slay a vampire, and it's not gonna be Buffy. So who else are they going to hire other than insane Faith, who is a live wire of unpredictability and just like no sense of self or remorse? So makes sense that they would hire her. Now looking at my notes, I like the kind of full circle moment of like bringing up the fact that Wesley was her watcher. So like he understands her and like the danger she poses better than most people. But I thought it was cool that even though Wesley was like basically like completely anti-faith for good reason, they still made Angel like this kind of endless source of forgiveness and like, no, but like we got to give her a chance and like she can be saved because he knows he was able to be saved. It's just really good storytelling. That being said, in this episode, Wesley does admit that he doesn't think that Faith is a bad person. However, he does get beaten and tied up by Faith immediately after that. So sorry to you, Wesley. And then he's like, "Oh wait, actually, I do admit she's a piece of shit." So there's a bit of an arc there. But wow, they really made Faith look rough in this episode with like her. She looked sick. She had like black eyes, and she was like torturing Wesley. It was very scary. Angel then kicks down the door. And my notes after that point were like Angel and Faith, the fight after was crazy and brutal. It's one of the craziest fights I have ever seen on these shows. They're still fighting in the alley after falling out that window. Like they were fighting, 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 fell out the window into the alley, fighting, fighting, fighting. I was like, how is this going to end? And then Faith breaks down and begs Angel to kill her by saying like I'm bad, basically like she deserves it, like she wants to go, she thinks she deserves it. And Wesley comes down in the pouring rain, um glasses off, bloody, with a knife ready to end it, and Angel just refuses to end her life and she just falls apart in his arms, and he keeps her safe and just like falls to the ground. And it's such a moving, incredible scene. Like it is like so powerful. It's another one of those scenes in these shows that makes you forget you're watching like a network TV show from the early 2000s. It feels like something you would watch today on like a premium streaming show. It's that good. And I also wrote after that, Faith, a human who is losing her kind of soul and empathy via her choices, and Angel, a demon who is granted a soul via choices. Like, there's so many beautiful poetic parallels to the two of them, and I kind of love it. It's an insane way, like, that is an insane way to end an episode. So I'm so glad it continues in the next, because that would be a crazy way to end it. So episode 19, Sanctuary, was co-written by Tim Minear and Joss Whedon, which is a terrifying combination, let me tell you. The Faith recap was thorough at the top of the episode. Again, very helpful for viewers. Angel showing her continuous forgiveness and kindness. She seemed genuinely disturbed by that. Like, she was expecting anything and everything but forgiveness and kindness. And in a way, that makes it the most effective method in getting through to her, because it's very disarming. I wrote, complete side note, Cordelia is still beautiful with a black eye. And I kind of love how gentle Wesley is with Cordelia in like a non-romantic way. I can't believe I'm changing my mind on the two of them. It's whatever. Anyways, I was like, Kate corrected her fellow detective on X-Files lore, which I thought was funny, because the parallels there. I have a lot of notes on this episode about how mentally ill Faith is. Like, having flashbacks to her first kill. Like, they don't obviously ever diagnose Faith with a particular mental illness, but you can go and look at her entire arc as a character and be like, there is no way that this person doesn't have like severe mental illness. They just don't really deal with that in a way that's significant on television, especially not at the time. But you can connect the dots. Oh, and I have a whole set of notes here about how the Old Watchers Council tried to get Wesley to come back, but actually it's just because they think he's dispensable and they're afraid of Faith because of how powerful she is, and they think they can rehabilitate her once she's captured. This was the first time that I felt protective over Wesley. No, I know. It's fine. You all told me so. You can say you told me so. You can put that in the comments. Whatever. I'm worried about his well-being. Whatever, it's fine. But then enter Buffy Summers, as she walks in while Angel had just come out of a shower with his shirt off, open, just out there, and it looks like he's involved with Faith in that way, and Buffy, of course, reads it completely the wrong way, and, you know, here we are again. Round and around we go. The reuniting scenes go absolutely crazy with Buffy and Angel. Their lore, their history, their chemistry, crazy. Every single character at this point in the episode felt unpredictable. Wesley, Buffy, Faith, Angel. Like, at no point did I know what any of them were going to do. Wolfram and Hart tried to basically go through Kate to try to get to Angel, which makes sense, but, like, please stop involving her. And then the Buffy Faith rooftop scene was absolutely incredible. Like, and then Angel on the helicopter on the helicopter shot like against the city at night was so Batman of him, so Mission Impossible core. Insane like cinematics there. I love how Faith's arc of these two episodes ends with her making a confession and taking her punishment by going to jail. Like, she is going to serve her time and do the right thing, and what an incredible way to close out that arc. Like, the quote, "You're looking for vengeance," quote, "I have a right to it," quote, "Not in my city." Damn, bars. And just a random quote that I liked: "For a taciturn, shadowy guy, I got a big mouth." I thought that was funny. The final shot of Faith in the jail cell, seemingly more peaceful than ever before, because she chose to stay there and do her time on her, like, she made that choice. She finally did the right thing. And I'm so glad that this character has found peace through that. Later on in a different episode, which I'm sure I'll get to when I get to it, but, like, we see Angel reconnecting with Faith while she's, I think, in prison. And I really enjoy how they're not letting any threads drop with these characters. It's very impressive storytelling, and I really enjoyed these two episodes a lot. Since it's been a few weeks since I actually watched this set of crossover episodes, some of the minor details are starting to fade, and some of my notes, I'm like, I don't know what I'm talking about. So if I missed something, feel free to drop them in the comments and we can talk from there. I'm sure I skipped over some stuff, but I wanted to hit the major points. I really like when they bring Faith into both of these shows. I think she adds a really interesting element to all the character dynamics, and I like that they're not just dropping her story, that they're really seeing it through to the end. And given the open-ended nature that they keep leaving her on, although right now she's in prison, but like there's always an opportunity for her to come back, which I like. So we'll see what the future is, or what the future holds with Faith. Next set of videos are going to cover Buffy season 4 episodes 20, 21, and 22. That might be split up into 2 different videos because there's quite a lot that happens at the end of Buffy season 4. So look out for those. And thanks for joining me.